Is Palmstreet going to destroy the reptile hobby? Is Palmstreet even a good place to sell animals? Truth, coming up. Unboxing. There's 5 claims or 5 narratives that I've heard going around. People are only on Palmstreet because they want cheap and or free deals on animals. People only care for animals as much as they paid for them. So if they didn't pay much for an animal, they're not going to care for it nearly as much. Palmstreet's fees are too high. Palmstreet does not promote reptile content on their platforms or on their Instagram. Anyone can just go on there and dump animals. We're going to get to those 5 things. First, my bias. I'd love for you to tell me in the comments the things that I say, which are truth, which are opinion. I'm going to try to keep it 100% truth, specifically because I am sponsored by Palmstreet. Obviously, a big elephant in the room that I want to get out of the way right away because, obviously there's going to be a bias there. I've been blessed to have hundreds of companies reach out to me over the years about sponsorship, and I've turned pretty much all of them down. One of the very important things to me is what is your company about? What are you doing? Especially when it comes to the reptile industry, the reptile hobby. I got the opportunity to go out to their headquarters before I was even sponsored by them and just go hang out for the day. And here's what I saw. The CEO called ahead to the office to make sure it was cool if I brought a snake because he was worried it was going to frighten the employees there. And you may have watched that video on this channel where I brought a snake there and everybody there held a snake for their very first time. Maybe they're so terrified of snakes they don't want to come into the building, and after the fact, what happened was that they thought it was so cute and they wanted to get one for their office. So first thing, people only want cheap or free deals on animals. I mean, I think that's probably true. You work hard for your money, yes? And the less of it you can spend to get the same thing that you want, that's probably the thing you're going to go with, most likely. I mean, weighing obviously the quality and the, what you're getting for what you pay. I think that's true. I mean, that would be ridiculous to claim otherwise. Who doesn't want to pay less for anything they're getting? There can be a situation where you truly appreciate what's happening. There's been times when somebody asks, so much, and I'll throw in some extra because I appreciate so much what they're doing. But that's a rare occasion, and I think generally, people want to pay less for anything that they're buying. That is definitely true. And number 2, people only care as much about an animal as they pay for it. That is definitely not true. I mean, we just got a second dog that we kind of took in from a family that's moving out of the area, and we didn't have to pay a single thing for that dog. Do I care for it less than the dog that we paid $2,500 for? Absolutely not. We care for them exactly the same. They're going to get the same amount of care, and that goes for all the reptiles here too. Some of these reptiles I rescued from people who couldn't keep them anymore. Some of these reptiles I paid tens of thousands of dollars for, and I care for them equally the same. They all get fed the same. They get the same amount of attention. There's no difference there. And I've also seen this, not just for myself. Some of the animals I actually cared for more. I've given animals away free for kids who are really excited about getting their first reptile. And I would argue that those animals are actually cared for more than some of the animals that I've sold for 5 figures. How much somebody's going to care for an animal being equal to the amount they pay for it, that is absolutely not true. And the truth is that how much care somebody is going to give an animal is going to depend on that person in particular, not the amount of money that they spend. 3, the fees are too high. I think it was 6%. I've not sold yet there, so I haven't done super solid math. I know there are fees involved. Are they too high? I think that if they're too high, nobody would use them. If it was too high, then people would be like, well, this is too high. There's other ways to sell things without having to pay nearly as much as a fee. I remember when John at Morph Market first started charging people for memberships, which makes total sense because they're providing an awesome platform. The only way to make sustainable is if the company's bringing in some money to keep everything running, pay people to do the programming and the writing of code and all that type of stuff. And I remember the pushback initially was like, we have to pay for it. So I think that people, again, going back to that, do people want to pay or not pay? Yes, if something's free, you're going to be more inclined to like that because you don't have to pay for it versus if you do. So fees too high. If the fees are too high, nobody would be using the platform. Palmstreet does not promote reptile content on their platform. This is some feedback I got at the recent North Carolina show, and that actually concerned me. I was like, is that true? Because that's not good if that's the case. And so I asked Palmstreet, is that true? Like, do you guys not do that? And so they've been a plant platform for a long time, and they're just now getting reptiles going in this past year. So what they said is that at one point they were sharing everything, and they have like their Instagram stories would be like 20 minutes long because they'd share everything that they were tagged in. And so they had to back that off and just reeled it back into like, how do you decide what to share? They reeled it back into their foundational members, or the ones that make a certain amount of sales after you cross that threshold. Then they kind of use that as their, okay, now we can start sharing this. And I'm sure even then they don't share everything. But I just went on Palmstreet right before I was making this video just to check like what's on there right now. And there's reptile content on there. There's even spiders. Here's the thing. As reptile keepers, I think it's not wise of us to not accept and realize that there's still a whole bunch of those the only snake is a good snake folks out there, and that is still a big part of people and the perspective of snakes, reptiles, lizards, things of that nature. It's our job as reptile lovers and keepers to change that narrative and educate people so that they know that that's not true, that the only good snake is a dead snake, or that reptiles are creepy and scary and you shouldn't have them as pets. And so the thing that really excited me in the first place about Palmstreet is they have this huge platform of folks that are not in the reptile keeping hobby, but could be, especially with the All-American Reptile and Plant Expos that are kicking off, and how it's such a perfect blend to me of like people who love to keep plants, are already caring for living things, and it's such a compliment to have things like reptiles, especially like the animal I'm unboxing on today's video, and how you can blend that plant keeping with reptile, amphibian, exotic animal keeping, and it's such a perfect blend. And I think that the opportunity to educate folks on that is just really special on this platform. It's the only platform right now where you can live stream, and they have the selling feature and the store feature built in for the reptile community. And so I think that that's special. I think the opportunity is there to really grow the industry, the reptile hobby, and educate people. I think that's huge. And I think that's the biggest benefit that I see from it. And that's why I'm excited about working with them, because I see them taking the feedback and the criticism, wanting to make things better, as well as just the amount of people who are like ripe for becoming new reptile keepers. We'll get into topic number 5 in just a moment, but I just want to say a couple things about platforms. I think that there's poor keepers and good keepers that can use any platform, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. There's folks that give the hobby a bad look, a good look, and that's not specific to a platform. That can happen anywhere. Just because somebody gets an animal for inexpensive, as we talked about, doesn't mean they're going to care for it less. I know some prominent breeders in the hobby today that got their start looking for animals on Craigslist. And when it comes to animal neglect, it's not about the platform. It's about the people that are doing the promotion. I think it's an awesome opportunity to have a new platform to educate people about these animals. I know that there definitely has been poor feedback about like how much people are selling animals for, and that is wide all over, not just on Palmstreet, but like it's not COVID. There's been a tank in the industry. There's been a tank in the economy. People are not spending as much money, especially on things like pets. And it could be argued that auctions are not good for making the most money. I think that's true. An auction, if you're trying to get as much top dollar for your animals as possible, an auction is just not the way to go. Especially an auction that only lasts 30 seconds to 2 minutes, let alone, even on the 3-day long auctions on Morph Market. I took some screenshots just before I was making this video, and there's auctions that have just a few minutes left. And I mean, there's a super pastel triple het hypo sunset something, and it's like at $100. I'm like, what? That's crazy. And that's after 3 days. So can you imagine if there's only like 30 seconds to 2 minutes to bid on that animal? Like, you have the choice at the end of the day how much you're going to sell your animal for. And if you have a certain number in mind, don't put it anywhere less than that ever, because you're just going to be disappointed. You're going to be sad. You're going to have regret. You're going to probably hate yourself the next day. So don't do that. If you have an animal, there's no way I would ever want to take less than $50 for this animal. Start the auction, if you're doing an auction, at that price. Of course you can be upset, but you can't reasonably be upset if you priced an animal or put an animal at a certain price and then it didn't go above the price that you set. That's just common sense. Now, the fifth thing I heard, this is definitely coming from a place of ignorance from whoever is making these claims that it's just a place to dump your animals cheap and anybody can do that there. Palmstreet definitely has a long process that you have to go through before you can become a seller on that platform. And they can easily revoke that from anybody who's breaking their terms of service or who they get poor feedback from. I imagine they would listen to that and take that not just into consideration, but take it seriously and be like, okay, we're not going to have people on that are obviously neglecting or are abusers of animals for sure. The idea that anybody can just go on there and sell animals is 100% false. That can't happen. I just want to reflect on the fact that I definitely have a bias in making this video. Palmstreet did not ask me to make this video. I just wanted to because I see a huge positive that is possible from the platform, and I love any comments and feedback that you have in the comments below so I can either, give that back to Palmstreet or even just like think about it myself. Because as I first became sponsored by them and started working with them, I see some comments here and there, oh, Palmstreet's trash, Palmstreet's garbage. I'm like, what's your reasoning? And nobody would give me any. Thankfully, some people have in person done that, and I've been able to hear some stuff back. So if any of the things that I talked about in today's video didn't address your reasoning, again, I would love to hear what you think I'm wrong about, what you think is actually the truth, if anything I said today was not the truth, and we'll go from there. But final truth about Palmstreet before we do the unboxing here. It is a growing and evolving marketplace that is chock full of people who can become new, responsible, caring reptile keepers. I'm here for it. You think you know what it is?
Yeah.
No, you might have heard me say it before I left, huh? All right. This is the real unboxing here. Slice is nice.
What on earth did you order from St. Petersburg?
St. Petersburg.
I think I know.
Ooh, he thinks he knows.
I know.
Do you guys see the butts on the box? The butt.
What the?
Chinese food butt.
Oh, I know what it is.
Oh, what?
Yep,
Was that a
it's
giveaway?
frog. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was going to be a
How can you tell it's a frog?
I know it was a frog.
Because I heard you say it this morning. Can I have your frog sticker?
Yeah, you can have a frog sticker. You can have the pineapple.
Pineapple butt.
You want the beaker butt?
Sure. I want the pencil butt.
Pencil butt. Pencil butt is mine, meh. Pencil butt belongs to me.
I don't see the.
That's my pencil butt.
I don't see the Give me that.
Give me that. All right, no, here, you can have this.
Thanks.
This matches Leia's outfit.
Wait, the frog has a butt too.
Phase pack. These are reusable. Here.
A purple frog.
Ooh, it does kind of look purpley, doesn't it?
First, is it a girl or is it a boy?
We don't
We have
know yet.
Jerry. We could have Jerry and Jeff.
Eli.
And
Jerry's a girl.
St. Petersburg is a town in Florida.
just like how there's.
How awesome.
Just like that's so cool. Hey, that frog also has a butt.
Dad,
Butt frog jump.
let's name her or him.
Oh! I just want to show where it landed. That was amazing. Look at that landing spot right on the tripod. That's amazing. That's super cool. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We'll see you on the next video. Aloha.